What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I want to do a quick market update because we are not going live at our typical time here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I did just want to jump on here and give the Candle Mafia a little bit of a market update and let you guys know how I'm feeling about the markets, if I'm leaning bullish, if I'm leaning bearish, and I'm going to also show you guys some key levels to watch and just basically what I'm expecting going into this weekend and then the next coming week. But before we get into it, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of these urgent market updates or awesome tutorials that we upload to the channel. And I'm gonna be updating you guys on these really cool indicators that I've been teasing on my live streams because we have some really exciting news on where you guys can actually start getting your hands on some of these tools. So without further ado, let's jump into the charts. Again, I'm gonna take a look at Bitcoin. We're gonna take a quick look at the DXY, and hopefully I can give you guys some insight to how I'm feeling and help you find those key levels to watch for your next saucy trade. Let's get into it. So here we are on the Bitcoin weekly chart. Now, guys, we do have some things on the higher time frames that we want to keep an eye on. Number one is going to be on the 2-week chart on regular candles. Now, if we turn on Market Cipher A and come over to the 2-week chart, this is something I am keeping a close eye on. We are now printing a red dot on the 2-week time frame with the addition of this nasty yellow X. Now, the one good thing about this yellow X would be that the last time we saw one of these yellow X's, at least on this Bitstamp chart, was back in April of 2015. And when we saw that yellow X pop up in 2015, the bottom was actually already in. So I am keeping a very close eye on this yellow X because it could wind up being extremely bearish. You can see what that blood diamond did in March of 2020, bringing us down about 58%. Now, that was obviously a black swan event, so you do want to keep that in mind. But now, as we work over into the weekly time frame, guys, we do have our VWAP starting to round back to the upside, which would actually indicate that we could be coming up to a potential bottom here. And if it's not the bottom of this bear market, it could potentially just be a very significant local bottom. If we come over here and turn on our BitLab Market Intelligence indicator, now this is BitLab Academy's new indicators, and this one is very powerful, being able to mark out divergences, as you can see labeled right here on these little flags. Now, what I like to do with these, I like to come into the settings, I turn off the BitLab Relative Extrema, and I come to External Indicator, and I select Blue Wave Market Cipher B. Now, this indicator is now also on top of looking for OBV, Chaikin money flow, RSI, momentum, and MACD divergences. It will also now search for Market Cipher B divergences, which is mainly what I look at. So as you can see here on the weekly time frame, obviously we do have our lower lows here with our higher lows on Market Cipher B, and our indicator here is calling for an RSI and momentum divergence on the weekly time frame, which could wind up being very bullish. Now, as we work our way down these higher daily time frames, you can see now we have 3 bullish divergences on the 6-day. We have the RSI, the momentum, and the external, which is our Market Cipher B divergence, which should be printing here relatively soon if that VWAP could cross over and print this green dot. Obviously, you want to wait for that green dot to confirm before making any trading decisions based off of this, but the main idea I want to drive home here is that on these higher time frames, we can go down to the 5-day. Now we have 4 bullish divergences here. We have the MACD, RSI, momentum, and external. So we are starting to get some pretty bullish signals here on Market Cipher B and the MACD and the RSI and on momentum, giving us these bullish divergences on the higher daily time frames. You can see we also have it on the 4-day, and on the 3-day, we do have a MACD bullish divergence with a green dot about to print here on Market Cipher B. And if you look at the 2-day, we are currently printing a green dot, and we also have lower lows on our price and higher lows on our momentum waves, giving us that bullish divergence, which could wind up giving us a decent move up. Now, I do want to warn you guys, we are still in a bear market, and if you watch the channel, we've seen these bullish signals pop up on these higher daily time frames, and they do wind up playing out to the upside. However, they don't play out very dramatically, mostly just because we're in a bear market, and usually those bullish signals do not play out as explosively in a bear market as they would in a bull market. And as you can see here, our money flow is back in the red on the 2-day, so you do want to keep that in mind. That is somewhat bearish. So I am watching this green dot very closely because these divergences, if they play out, could be very powerful and give us a decent move to the upside, which I'm going to give you some targets for here in a second. But you do just want to understand the environment you're trading in, and with this money flow coming into the red, I would technically like to see this start to curve back to the upside before really giving much hope into these divergences and this 2-day green dot. So in short, guys, the divergences are starting to set up on these higher daily time frames and could play out in a very big way. Now I'm going to turn off our BitLab market intelligence just to clean the chart up a little bit, and let's continue on here looking at the daily. Now this is somewhat of a good example of how these bullish setups don't really play out as much in bear markets. Now we did have a bullish divergence here on the daily just confirmed a couple of days ago, and we actually didn't see it play out too well. We got a little bit of a bounce to the upside, but now that VWAP is looking to roll back over and may be ready to cool off here. We also have our money flow starting to curve off as well. And if you grab a trend line, this money flow is generally just trending to the downside. So that is a little bit more bearish and could indicate a little bit of a cool off, but our 2-day and 3-day and most of these other higher daily time frames are potentially starting to look to the upside. Now coming to the medium hourly time frames, you can see we are actually printing a green dot on the 4-hour here. Let's see if this could give us a move up in the short term, and we actually do have our money flow starting to curve back around as well. So obviously, guys, we are going into the weekend, and you want to be a little bit careful because of the low volume. I typically don't trade on weekends. We may just consolidate, or we might get some funky price action, but that 4-hour green dot may give us a little move up short term, and I will give you guys some local levels to watch, as well as some longer term higher targets if those higher daily time frames do wind up playing out. Now, if this 4-hour green dot does give us a move, where would I expect price to go? Let's go ahead and pull up our TA and take a look here at some local levels I'm watching. Now, this is the general range I am going to be watching here over the weekend. We'll see if we're just going to consolidate down here. It is somewhat of a holiday weekend here, so again, volume might be a little lower than normal, which could present itself in some weird price action. Maybe we just consolidate. However, if we do get this 4-hour green dot to give us a move to the upside, the main level I will be watching in the short term is this point of control coming in at about 16,812. As long as we remain underneath this point of control and cannot get above it, I will not expect much higher prices. I will just expect to either consolidate or come back down and revisit the value area low, which is coming in at about 16,230. Now, if we can get above this POC and flip it to support, I would expect a pretty quick visit of this value area high, and that is coming in at about 17,174. And if we pull up our VPVR, the reason I say it may be a quick ride to 17,174 would be because of this little volume gap here before this next little spike in volume we have. If we break this high volume node or this POC again and flip this to support, we could get a quick rip right through that volume gap to come stick to this next high volume node coming in between about 17,174 and about 17,300. Now, if we wind up breaking the high volume node at about 17,300, you can see that our next major level of resistance would actually be this naked point of control coming in at about 18,390 or almost 18,400. Now, I don't know if we're going to get here tomorrow or the next day, but I do think it may be a little bit more likely to actually just consolidate within our current range here. Let me go ahead and hide that VPVR. I do think it is a little bit more likely for us to kind of just continue to range around, even if we hop on top of the POC. Maybe we just kind of bing bong around in this local range before we start getting the 2-day confirmed green dot with giving us that high daily time frame confirmed bullish divergence, and eventually these higher daily time frames will start to swing around, and that is where I would expect a bigger move potentially out of this value area and back up towards this naked point of control in the 18,000s. Now, this blue box here, this value area high, is a very key level to get above, because if we do break above this level, there is not much holding us back. We do have that naked point of control at 18,390, but other than that, there's not much resistance between the break of this value area high and this high volume node getting up there in the 19,000s, getting pretty close to 19,200. And if we could get above there, it gives us an opportunity to get back into our previous trading range that we hung out in so long. right up here in this range. And in that case, if we do make it up there, I would consider that a very bullish sign. And if those higher daily time frames confirm those bull divs, it is definitely possible for those to get us up there if they play out in a bullish manner. Now, as far as trade entries in this zone, for the most part, guys, I do not like trading when we are hanging out in the middle of a zone. As you can see, we have our highs up here and our lows down here, and we're kind of just hanging out in the middle. This is typically a no-go zone for trades. At least for me, I like taking my trades at the lows of the range or the absolute highs of the range. I do not like taking trades in the middle. Now, if you were looking for longs, I would wait until you start flipping the POC to support, and if you start getting a lot of bullish confirmations at this point, that is maybe where you could look for some potential long opportunities, and you could target the value area high for your take profit. However, I would rather wait for price to get up to our value area high, and then that is where I would be looking for bearish confirmations to potentially short it back down to the POC. So you just want to remember, you want to be longing support and shorting resistance, not kind of putting in trades in the middle of a range that could break either direction. Now, I do want to bring you guys over to the DXY to take a look at some things, because we do have some interesting things developing over here, and that starts here on the daily time frame. Guys, we do have a confirmed yellow X on the daily for the DXY, which is a very bearish sign just in general, meaning that the DXY can continue to lose strength here and start to break down as Bitcoin's higher daily time frames start to look like they want to turn around to the upside. It would make a lot of sense for the DXY to start looking bearish here on the daily time frame and above. So we do have the confirmed yellow X here, which number one is bearish and indicates manipulation to the downside. However, we also have a confirmed red dot, obviously, and to add to this bearishness on the DXY, we finally got our money flow crossover into the red on the daily, which again is indicative of a move to the downside, which could wind up being very bullish for Bitcoin. So are you seeing a little bit of a trend here? We have the confirmed yellow X, the money flow crossover into the red on the daily time frame. The DXY is looking weaker as the higher daily time frames on Bitcoin are showing those bullish divergences. Could potentially be a move up here coming for Bitcoin in the near future. And then in the shorter term, we do have a 4-hour red dot looking to print here pretty soon on the DXY. So keeping a close eye on this daily to see if this thing can bring the DXY down a little bit so we can get that little pump on Bitcoin. Now, coming back to Bitcoin real quick, I do just want to let you guys know that the levels to the downside, if we do wind up getting a move, do remain the same. As long as we can hold the range lows here, I do think we will be in pretty good shape on Bitcoin. However, if we start to lose this level at about 15,420, this remains the key level we need to hold. If we lose this spider line, which is coming in at $15,245, this could start the very quick fall down to the 14,000s. And then the next major level of support is going to be that macro value area low at 14,408. And again, guys, just in the shorter term, again, I don't really trade on the weekends too much. However, and again, just on a shorter term time frame here, guys, this is essentially the range I'm looking at with the highs up here at 17,174 and the lows at about 16,230. So if we do get a move back down to the value area low, I will look for bullish confirmations and look to target the point of control. If we do get a shot up here and make our way to this value area high, this is where I would look for bearish confirmations. And this is where I would look at some bearish confirmations for potential short opportunities, also targeting that point of control. But again, I am going to sit on my hands here as we are sitting in the middle of the range. I would rather come up to the highs or the lows. And you could see here on top of our point of control at 16,812, we also do have another point of control here. Based off our mesopic vision here, this is another BitLab indicator. That is basically a volume profile heat map that gives multiple value areas. I can't wait to make more content on this, guys. This is a super, super cool volume tool. But you can see with this dark red color, a lot of the volume is right here, and that is likely why our price is sticking there. So until we move far away up to the range highs or range lows, I am sitting on my hands. So guys, I think that's all the time I got for today's video. Now, again, keeping an eye on those higher daily time frames. With those bullish divergences starting to form, this would be our hope to get a big move to the upside, and now you guys have the targets to watch. But again, during this weekend, I am expecting maybe a little bit of consolidation before we get some moves next week. And if you guys are interested in checking out any of those custom BitLab indicators that I was just showing, you can go ahead and click the link in the description down below, and that will bring you to the BitLab Academy website, where you could click on the indicators tab and check them all out and find out which one's right for you. And with all that being said, guys, that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide.